Hello, Light Menders, and welcome to therapist and negotiation mediation expert React Raw to Ginny and Georgia from Netflix. Joining me today, the illustrious Bob Bordone, known for his work at Harvard Law and also as a world-class negotiator and mediator. Hello, Bob.
Jono, it's so great to see you again, and thanks for having me on your channel.
Yeah, last time we did one of these, we were talking about Ted Lasso. It's been a minute since we got back together, but glad to have you back on. For those who are seeing you for the first time, I set you up a little bit, but tell us a bit more about who you are, what you specialize in, and why Mended Light viewers should take interest in your channel and go ahead and subscribe over there right now.
Sure thing. So my channel is Bob Bordone, and my work is in all things negotiation. Now you might think I don't negotiate, therefore I don't need this channel. But if you ever try to influence anyone to do anything in your life, ever, then that's what negotiation is. So we look at how do you influence, how do you persuade, and also spend a lot of time talking about how do you have really difficult conversations with family, friends, employers, lovers, partners.
Yeah.
So there's a nice, I think, complementarity to our two channels, John.
There is. And we're going to explore that complementarity. We're going to assess a clip from a popular Netflix show that neither you nor I have seen before. It's called Ginny and Georgia. All I know about it is there is a 30-year-old mother, a white, blonde, Southern belle mother, and she has a mixed-race daughter. The father is passed away. The daughter's 15, and then there's a son who's 9. And she's trying to make it as a single mother. And there's a lot of conflict in their relationship, is what I understand. And so it's in the trailer. She says we're like the Gilmore Girls with bigger chests. So I guess that's what we're reacting to.
Okay.
But
all right.
Her words, not mine, folks. That's what the character says on the show. So we're going to be looking at some conflict between mother-daughter and assessing it from a mental health and from a negotiation mediation perspective. So let's do this.
Show me.
What?
Show me.
Mom?
You burn yourself?
Mom.
Show
What
me.
are you doing? What are you doing?
Where? Stop. Where
Stop
do you do it?
Get off of me!
I want to see. Stop. Where? Mom, get off of me. Fine. You want to see?
Let's first start with mom coming in from a place of genuine love and concern. Where her heart is not in question. What do you think of her approach with her daughter for such a sensitive subject?
This is both unsurprising and I would say unhelpful.
Yeah.
There's something in my field, we talk about something called one's emotional refractory period. You probably have a short kind of phrase in your well,
I know what a refractory period is, and that's very descriptive language. Yeah, no, I love it. Okay.
It's very descriptive, and it seems to me that this mom is in that refractory period right now. So, the biggest piece of advice I always give people when you find yourself in that moment, when your emotions are overtaking the kind of more cognitive part of the brain, right? That frontal lobe part of the brain, the amygdala is like overreacting, is no harm, right? And that's really hard. I think right now, mom is not succeeding at that, right? Because coming in, that's
Yes, it will, which is what happens. Get off me, get away from me. And now, instead of being vulnerable with her mom, she's almost defiantly, fine, you want to see it. But the energy is probably not conducive to a healthy conversation right now. In the field of family therapy, what I tell people is this is called emotional flooding, right? Mom is emotionally flooded. Again, we're watching this without context, so if you're a fan of the show, you can correct me if I'm wrong. But I agree with you, Bob. It seems like mom's coming in having just learned this, and she's going to address it immediately, instead of taking a moment to say, I'm flooded. I'm overwhelmed, right? I'm emotionally aroused, and I'm not going to think clearly or handle this maybe the best way. And so it's good self-awareness to recognize when you're emotionally flooded. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't handle the situation. It just means that you should probably take a moment to regulate, right? To self-soothe, to get to a place where you're thinking clearly, and then decide how you want to proceed. Because mom's coming in hot, right? So, okay, here we go.
That is exactly right.
How long have you been doing that?
Mom, I don't want you to cry.
I don't understand. Why? Why would you do that to yourself? Is it me? Is it because of me?
No, it's not that simple.
Is it Kitty? It's heavy. I know that. I tried to keep you from it. I tried to protect you. I've only ever wanted to protect you.
No, it started before that.
Mom is showing concern for her daughter, but she's really looking to soothe herself. Is it me, right? Am I the guilty party here? She's looking for absolution, or if the absolution is not there to be had, what can I do to make this right? And so, and look, and I don't want to be critical. All of this is very human. And even with our training and experience, I don't want to say that you and I wouldn't react necessarily in a similar fashion in a high intensity moment if we're not, following our own advice here. It still doesn't change the fact that right now the daughter's kind of rolling her eyes because mom is kind of showing concern for her, but also making it about the mom, making it about her. What do you think about that?
I mean, I agree with you entirely, right? What's interesting from just a conflict or difficult conversations perspective is mom first starts with this question, right, which is why? And that's a good question. Now, the tone in which she does it isn't so great, but the question of help me understand is a good one. And then she does something that I think is a really common error, which is not to wait for the answer, but to start to go through a whole bunch of your hypotheses. And the first one, I think, as you say, right, is very much not daughter-centered, but mother-centered, right, which is I need to know that I'm not the one to blame here, right?
Yeah, and so I tried to protect you, right? So she's already like running through. I did my best. If this is my fault, it's still in her space. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's this really interesting dynamic that almost always, right, when something has gone wrong in a relationship or an event or in a situation like this, that there's this backwards looking for the purpose of figuring out who should be blamed, right, and whose fault it is. And backwards looking investigations at the right time can be very useful because they help us figure out how we can change. But a backwards looking investigation to figure out who's at fault usually is another kind of poisonous direction for a productive conversation.
Yeah, wonderful.
My beautiful girl. My special miracle baby girl. Why? Why would you do that?
I hate it. I want to stop.
This is good.
Come here. I'm so sorry that I missed this. I'm just so sorry, Peach. For everything. Give it to me, okay? You give all that pain to me. I can handle it. Come here. But I'm here, okay? But I'm here. I'm here. Come here.
When you talk about negotiation is the art of influencing, right? Because we hear negotiation and we think politics and business, right? That's what most people think.
Yep.
my opinion, she's doing a better job now than she was in the first part of the clip.
For sure, right? I mean, part of what she's doing, I think, which always feels, I think, counterintuitive in negotiation, but I think is often the way to go, is being authentic and sharing your emotions. And there's something about the sharing of the emotions, right? The honesty here that opens up some space.
Yeah.
And that that idea, I think, is really critical to what makes someone successful as a negotiator, to both to seeing the emotion, but also being willing to share the emotion. I think there's also a really nice example of, I mean, there's a lot of crying, but there's actually a certain comfort in the discomfort. And I think
Yeah.
folks who are really good at conflict are good at just sitting with that.
Yes. And I think in family relationships especially, but in all type of loving relationships, it's not our job to take it away. Now she's saying, you give me all that pain, I can handle it, right? But by the same token, her daughter's still going to hurt. What she's doing by sitting here and holding her is saying, I'm going to mourn with you, right? You may suffer, but you're not going to suffer by yourself. And that in and of itself is powerful, and that in and of itself can contribute to healing. I also see her, once she kind of like blew through her own insecurities and fears, she was better able to sit with the pain that her daughter's going through. And I love that as a mother, she's at this moment, she's not especially trying to fix it, asking questions, looking for solutions. Like you're saying, she's more just sitting in the moment, being present and being loving. And I imagine in negotiation, like, if this is mother-daughter, so there's physical contact, right? That may or may not always be the best way to handle that in other relationships or in other negotiations or influencing moments. But sitting with somebody, being present, not trying to rush the process, and understanding what matters to them and what they're struggling with and what you can do to maybe help with that, to me that seems like that's bread and butter negotiation.
I think that's exactly right, and particularly right in conflict situations. I think, we always talk about the way people approach conflict, right? Some folks are very avoidant. Some kind of go in this like very clashing way. And I think both of those responses often are the product of just the discomfort of sitting in like highly uncomfortable space. And yet, if you want to be really effective in conflict, whether really at an international level or at a very interpersonal level, you have to have a pretty high conflict threshold, right? Of resilience to kind of
Yeah.
sit there and feel the feels and hear. And sometimes that really means that there is no solution, or at least getting to the problem solving first has to allow this kind of emotional space to kind of connect and feel heard. And so I imagine that probably connects very much with the work you do with your clients at times.
It does. And when you say safe to feel heard, people are worried that their darkest parts, what they perceive to be their most shameful parts, are going to be met with judgment or ridicule or discomfort. And so that's a big reason why people suffer alone. And one of the reasons to make yourself safe for somebody else is what she says, you share that pain with me, I can take it. She's saying, there's nothing about this that I can't handle, even though I came in acting like I couldn't handle it. I then demonstrated that I self-regulated and am here and am present for you, right? And so she's demonstrating it now.
Yeah.
Let's finish.
Yeah. Good. Okay.
I'm sorry, I ruined Christmas.
Christmas was ruined way before this. This is us. A very merry Ginny and Georgia Christmas special, right?
Oh, that's sweet.
I'm actually glad we didn't solve the problem here.
Now I watch these clips and I just want to watch the show now, and that keeps happening to me, and I'm like, I don't got time for all these shows, guys. I can't do it.
Which also seems intense. I don't know why, but when I heard the name Ginny and Georgia, I thought that it might be something kind of light and fluffy, but that was not light or fluffy.
No, well, and I watched the trailer for it, and it felt like it was going to be light and fluffy. So it's a bit of a curveball. Yeah, it's a dramedy.
That's a moment of this show.
So we're seeing a little bit about what this mother and daughter are going through. They got a lot of genuine love between them. They also got some real frustration and annoyance between them. Not seeing eye to eye between them. Beautiful moments and moments of discord. That's family, right? In season 2, they go to therapy together, and Bob and I are going to explore what their therapy session looks like. But we're going to do that over on Bob's channel with a video that drops right now. So head on over to Bob Bordone on YouTube to see part 2. Thanks for joining me, Bob.
Thanks for having me, Jono. See you on my channel.